Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live stream of the Raven's Eye. Just going to give it a moment to see if anybody else comes in. Hey, Isaiah, Corey. Why do I need exactly one to? I know. Okay, so Isaiah asks, what videos will you not do? All right, so the videos that I will not do are any videos that actively slander any other person or YouTube or organization that has not been officially tied with a hate organization. I use the Southern Poverty Law Center as my main resource for finding the groups that are on that list, and then I generally check my sources and try and see if they connect in any way to any of those listed hate groups. Did that answer your question, Isaiah? Okay, so what made me begin on this path? Well, I began on this path when I was 8 years old, so 22 years ago. What got me interested was actually a friend of mine whose mother was Wiccan. I got introduced that way and brought my first books on magic home when I was 8 years old. I had never really felt comfortable with Christianity. I tried to make it work a few times over the years, but eventually just kind of settled on paganism, and then over time found the Nordic path and kind of went from there. What would you say is the easiest kind of magic to start with? Easiest kind of magic to start with, in my opinion, would be like simple house charms. You can do like little spell bags or spell jars. Usually contain things like certain types of herbs or minerals, sometimes money. The contents of the jar or the bag really depend on what it is that you want it to do and what you feel like is the right thing for that purpose. There really is no right or wrong way to do a spell jar or a bag spell. You can pretty much just think of, say you want to do something for cleansing, you could do a little spell jar that's got some sage, maybe a little quartz crystal, something like that. What is my vision for the next 5 years? My vision for the next 5 years is to finish my bachelor's degree, become a teacher, and be teaching history. Hopefully be working on my master's degree. As for my plans for the Raven's Eye in the next 5 years, I would like to see it grow to be more than just me on the channel. I would like to see it hosting a variety of content creators from the pagan community. I do see the Raven's Eye formalizing as a nonprofit at some point within the next 5 years, and continuing to provide good quality, well-researched educational videos on paganism and heathenry. I do not see a hall in the next 5 years, if any of you are wondering. I do believe that is something that would have to wait for a much longer time, as that is something that takes an entire community. I don't believe it is something that any one person should take on their own. Who or what inspires you? Um, Nikola Tesla is always an inspiration. Very underrated, extremely smart person. I mean, he created some of the most amazing inventions way before his time. But other than that, who inspires me? Loki. I am inspired by Loki because my entire life revolves around chaos. It plays such an integral part in who and what I am that there's just really no other god that I really feel as drawn to besides Loki. What are some of my ideas for a kindred? Okay, I actually do have a kindred. It is the Raven's Eye kindred. And currently it's just me and a few other people within my local area. But I do plan for it to grow over time, and it is a very inclusive and open and accepting kindred. We are open to anybody that wants to be a part of our kindred and does not want to join a group and then find that they are bigoted or racist in any way. So we want to make sure that people that come and join our kindred like actively support like Declaration 127 or actively denounce any hate groups. So that is sort of like a bit of a prerequisite that we have for joining. What would I change in modern day heathenry? I would basically try and do everything I could to erase the bigotry and the racism and the whole idea that a faith has to be exclusive to one people, to one culture. I personally believe that as long as you are really truly honoring that faith, that path, and you aren't trying to twist it for your own goals or try to I guess dilute or pollute the faith, then I think that it doesn't matter what gods that you follow. So I honestly would say that I would try and make heathenry much more open and accepting. What would I change about the current trend of Viking culture? I would try and get people to realize that the Viking Age was actually a very, very short time. Viking was actually a profession. It does not refer to the people as a whole. So while there were, of course, Vikings going and raiding in other times besides the Viking Age, it was only such a very small percentage of the total population that a vast majority of ancient Scandinavians, or medieval Scandinavians, I should say, weren't anywhere near actually going and raiding once they were more than 18 or 19. I believe it was around age 20 or so that a man was expected to stop raiding and start his own farm and family. Do not quote me on that. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I do believe it was somewhere around that age. What are my thoughts on reclaiming symbols stolen or appropriated by exclusivist organizations? My thoughts are that the best thing we can do is to properly educate people as to the original meanings of the symbols and try and help people understand where these symbols came from, what they meant to different peoples over different times. But at the same time, I do believe that there are certain symbols that we cannot and should not ever try to reclaim. They have been stigmatized to the point where in certain areas you really don't want to use them, and I don't want to touch them. What is my lifelong goal? Okay, so my lifelong goal is to actually become a professor of history in a university. But beyond that, it is actually mine and my girl's dream to open a school one day. We want to create a school where somebody can start in kindergarten and go all the way through college and get the absolute best education they could possibly they could ever possibly get. And we do plan to start possibly with high schoolers, and just build from there. Besides that, I would eventually like to create not just a hall for people to go and celebrate. I want to create a place, a retreat, where any different kindred from around the country could go and they could find a great natural place where they could connect with the gods, create like cabins for them to stay in, provide a big hall and mess hall for them to feast in, have all sorts of activities they can do. What are your favorite rituals to do and why? Okay, so I don't have particular favorites really, but the big ones that I always do is, and first I should explain, for me a ritual is anything that you're doing in a sense to show honor or worship to the gods or to work a piece of magic, for instance. So what I do most often is actually I burn a candle. It's one of the simplest rituals I have, because literally all I do is just I focus on the god that I'm wanting to connect with. I light the candle, and then sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll kind of zone out onto the flames and meditate on them for a while. What would you say is the best thing for a pagan community, aside from dealing with whatever present bigotry, to focus on going forward? Okay, so the number one thing that I think that we need to focus on as a community is building the community. I really do believe that what we need to do is to start to create a cohesive network amongst all our different communities where we can interact and engage and exchange ideas in a peaceful and harmonious manner. Halls are great ideas for the future. Right now, focus on building a good, solid network of communities that work together for the common good of all of us, that want to see this community grow and become better. Would your kindred be more formal in ritual? Why or why not? So far, my kindred is not formal in our rituals. I do believe that over time, there will be a certain sense of formality as my particular kindred will develop traditions and like say they'll perform certain types of rituals at certain times of year. I don't believe they'll necessarily perform the same ritual every single time. I'm not a fan of overly formalized rituals. I believe that they're very personal, not only to the people that are partaking in them, but to the moment in which they are being performed. So while I do believe that my kindred will develop those little traditions, and there might be some things where we are very frequent on doing or consistent with, I do not necessarily believe that we will ever become a truly formalized ritual or what have you. Yes, Corey. We want to establish frith with everybody, with the whole community. Everyone that wants to be peaceful and open and inclusive. We want to build that community. We want to establish that frith, and we want to be able to uphold not only our own honor, but others as well. We want to know that nothing that we do is going to harm another. Oh shoot, my battery is running low. Give me 1 minute, guys. I gotta go find my charger. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Gotta remember to plug that in next time you start. All right, so. What are your opinions about internet Vikings or Grosatru? All right, come on, man. Like anybody that's just like going with the look to go with the look, they're a fucking hipster, man. They're just doing it to get attention and get likes. They're not actually doing it because they believe in this path. They're not actually doing this because they're following the path. A lot of those people are just fucking dressing up, man, because they like the idea of being a Viking. Don't listen to them. Don't pay them attention. They're not worth it. I mean, you could make fun of them, but again, they're not worth it. Have I ever gotten any pagan tattoos I'd like to share? Okay. I shall do that. You'll have to wait for just a moment because I have to remove a boot. But I have 2 pagan tattoos at the moment. One is a severe work in progress. There you go. It is the world tree. And I unplugged the computer. All right. The other one is on my arm. This is actually just the Assassin's Creed symbol, but inside of it is the Welsh symbol of Allen, which is the symbol for poetic inspiration. I used to be a poet. Although I haven't written much in the last couple of years. Do I have any plans of expanding my community on Facebook? No, I do not. I hate Facebook. I have 0 plans to ever expand the Raven's Eye onto Facebook. I do not have Facebook. I will not have Facebook. You get Instagram and you get YouTube and you get Discord and the Patreon. That's it. All right. Have I ever prayed to Groggy to try and get back into poetry? No, I'm waiting until I make mead. Yeah. I'm waiting for when I make my own mead so that I can use that as the offering to Groggy. I have everything I need. I just haven't done it yet. Who would not be allowed to join your kindred? Like I said, anybody who shows that they are bigoted and racist would not be allowed to join. Other than that, I am open to anybody from anywhere with any background and any history to join. If the next skinhead wanted to join, someone who had renounced those hateful and bigoted ideals, I would be open to them joining. I would let them join. The only people I don't want in the kindred are the ones that show themselves to be bigoted or racist, to have hate in their hearts. There you go, Corey. That's it. Number 1, be pagan. Number 2, don't be a racist. That's about it. Any other questions, guys? So we got 5 people watching, but only 2 people asking questions. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Throw in a question there. I'll do my best to answer you. In today's society, what would you say are the modern views of paganism? The modern views of paganism. Respect the earth. Don't be an asshole. Always be welcoming. Thus being a good host. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a racist. Stand up for one's kin, one's friends and family. When it comes to society. I don't really feel qualified to speak too much on the modern views of paganism as a whole. But I do feel like there are certain things that carry over. What are some things that are considered taboo in modern day but wasn't in the past? Homosexuality. Right off the top of my head, homosexuality is considered taboo. I know that in the United States, we are very accepting of homosexuality and we have legalized gay marriage. In some places in the world, it is still very much a taboo. However, go back in time and before the rise of Christianity, it wasn't taboo. It was perfectly normal. You want to know the reason that we don't see a lot of writings about it? It's because who spends their time writing about the day-to-day minutia of regular life? I mean, I'm not saying that everybody was out there having gay sex. No, don't take me wrong. I'm just saying it was just such a normal and accepting part of life that they didn't really write about it. And the only way that it was seen negatively is somebody was called ergy if they were the receiver of gay sex or if they did things that were quote unquote feminine. And even then, it was used more of as an insult of like a friendly jest than it was to actually meant to like truly harm and insult the person. It would, like a good example is like the Viking tradition of flyting. which was basically just exchanging insults around the feasting table. Calling someone ergi was just basically that. It was just a joking jest. It wasn't necessarily meant to actually harm them. Blood offerings are taboo in today's day and age. A lot of people are afraid to discuss it because it's been so demonized by Christianity over time that modern day society now condemns it. I do not really have an opinion on using blood in rituals. I've never done it, and I'm really not too sure about it. I know some people might feel that we should be allowed to do it, and there are others that feel that we should not be allowed to do it. However, when it comes to like blooding your runes, I am all for doing that. However, here is what my catch on that. Don't fucking cut yourself. You don't need to do that. There's literally zero reason you need to harm yourself in that way. You get the little disposable lancets that you use for pricking a finger. You prick your finger with it, and you get a couple drops of blood. That's all you need. Okay? You don't need a lot of blood. 1 or 2 little drops, just enough to put a little bit on your runes. You don't need to cut your wrist open or cut your thumb open, cut your palm open, anything like that. That's just self-harm for no fucking reason. How would a heathen practice in a strict Christian household? You can disguise what you're doing. Say you wanted to make an altar, you could just make a cool looking statue of balanced rocks, okay? Or stack rocks to make a bench. They don't necessarily have to know that it is an altar. And then for like, if you want to give offerings, take them out into nature and do it there, or do it secretly. Like if you get a potted plant in your house, like you keep a potted plant in your room, you can give libation offerings of water to the plant. When you're giving the offering to the gods, you just pour it on the plant. And as far as anybody else is concerned, you're just watering the plant. And then for candles, you're just lighting a candle. In what cases would animal sacrifice be acceptable? I'm on the fence about animal sacrifice. I am neither for it nor against it. However, I do know that there are certain religions out there that do practice animal sacrifice. I would possibly be okay with it if the conditions were right and the animal had been treated well, wasn't harmed in any way. Basically, for instance, like halal butchers, they have very strict regulations on how they kill the animals, how they slaughter them. I think that if you were going to be doing an animal sacrifice, you'd have to have some sort of rigid system like that, because I do not believe in unnecessarily harming an animal. You are going to be taking its life, and not only its life, the potential life of any offspring it may ever have. So that's a very, very big thing that you're doing. Is it weighs on people, and it would weigh on me. So it's something that you really have to think about, and I don't think it should be something that you take for granted or do willy-nilly. What would I say to the aspiring heathen wanting to learn more? Read. But don't just read the sagas or the Eddas or books about the Nordic heathen paths. Read the Vedas from India. read read the works of Zoroastrianism. Read about Buddhism or Taoism. Uh, you can read about Shinto, animism, Native African religions. You can learn about everything. Don't stop learning. Always be looking everywhere for knowledge, because there is value to be found in all knowledge. You might be the most knowledgeable person on, say, Germanic folklore, but you can still learn something from somebody who's an expert on, say, Australian folklore or Siberian folklore. Never be afraid to look for more sources of information. Never be afraid to dive deeper into another religion, even if it's not one that you believe in or practice. Don't be afraid to research it and learn about it, because it can still teach you a lot. There is value to be had in all knowledge. Just really like hiking, best thing to do to hide paganism. Very true. Going for a nice hike on a nature trail is a good way to hide your paganism, because you could honor the god for going out in there and just leaving some fruit at the side of a creek or at the base of a tree. Nobody has to know. What offerings do you not give, or what offerings are most standard in modern heathenry? In modern heathenry, one of the most standard offerings tends to be alcohol. Now, if you are underage in the area where you live, you cannot give alcohol, and I do not condone you going and trying to get alcohol to give as an offering. There are plenty of other substitutes. You can give juices, you could give food. However, like when it comes to Odin, he does not eat, he only drinks, so only offer him liquids. If you're going to offer a solid to him, give it to his ravens. Specify it for Heathen and Munin. Now, if you were going to just be giving an offering to nature spirits, I would recommend giving food offerings like fresh fruits or vegetables or nuts. Reason being is because all things are whites, and the land spirits are whites. And I believe part of giving that offering to those land spirits is letting the other whites of the land take part in it, to get sustenance and nourishment from it. So let the animals take the food. Let's see what's next. And if you're fishing, you can give one of the fishes that you caught as a sacrifice. I don't believe in wasting it though. So if you're sacrificing it, you might as well partake in it. The guy's not going to be able to eat it. Just leave a portion of it for the gods. Eat the rest. Any book recommendations on philosophy? Oh God. Aristotle, Plato, Pliny the Elder. Always good places to start. However, when it comes to philosophy, I'm not the best person to ask. It has never been necessarily the thing that I found the most interesting to study. I'll have a philosophical debate with someone and talk to them and just philosophize with them. But I've never really had much enjoyment in actually reading philosophy textbooks or reading books of philosophy. It was always just a little too dry for me. And this is coming from somebody that can read a historical tome from like the medieval times and being enthralled by it. Hey Blake. Oh, hi Heather. I forgot to say hi to you. Calvin, nice to see you as well. All right, let's see. What are the specifications for creating an altar? There are no specifications. You create the altar that you feel is the one that you want to create. Do not go out there thinking that you have to go and spend $150 on a statue for representation of some god. No, you do not. Here, I'll show you. All right. So, right here, if I can get it to aim right, I have my altar. All right. Now, everything on this altar, minus a few things, I got for free. I did not pay for them. All these stones down here were given to me for free. The ones here I got for free. The ones over here. The candles were ones that I just had around my house for the most part. All these feathers are ones that I've collected on my journeys. Smudging fan, made myself out of feathers that I collected. 350 million year old coral found in a construction site's roadbed. More fossils. This rock my daughter painted for me and gave to me, so it stays on here. I've got this little tin that I put offerings in. I also have another little one here that actually has 3 shot glasses that I used for candle holders because I didn't have candle holders. This is a rock that I carved with Odin's likeness, and it is a really bad likeness. I do not know how to draw, but it's still a work in progress, and it'll eventually be finished. I keep a Mjolnir hung here. Yes, I did purchase this. This is one of the few things on here that I actually purchased. It sits on top of a Vegvisir that I carved. And then the only other thing I have is a candle, which is the only other thing that I bought. Things you will collect over time that you can put on your altar. Don't ever feel like you have to have something that's real fancy right off the bat. You don't even ever have to have anything that's real fancy. Your altar can always be something simple, or it could be as complex as you want it to be. It is a completely personal thing, and you do not need to feel the need to do something just because somebody else did. You can use other people's altars for inspiration, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. How do you get a house spirit? You always have a house spirit. If you have a house or an apartment, you have a spirit in there. It's just a matter of becoming friends with it. And if you don't necessarily have a spirit, which is unlikely, you can invite one to come and live in your home. You can invite one and to join you, to join your family. An easy way to do that is to find like a nice white home, which is basically just a rock, a nice rock. You ask the spirit in that rock if it would like to journey with you home. And you place it in your home, whether it be on your altar or on a bookshelf or something, and then give them an offering. And if they accept it, they will become your house spirit, your housewife. What are some of the things that a lot of heathens don't know about? Some things that a lot of heathens don't know about, I would have to say that a lot of heathens don't know that, like I mentioned earlier, homosexuality was completely normal in pre-Christian times. It was not taboo. It was not something that you had to be ashamed of. You only had to worry about the occasional joke about you receiving, is all. A lot of modern heathens also think that like the practice of these pagan faiths in old times were always super complicated, super ornate, with a lot of detail to their rituals, a lot of formalization, and that's not necessarily true. Maybe in some of the bigger cities and bigger towns, they were more formalized, more flashy and showy with their rituals. But for the everyday common person, it was less about the ritual than it was about actually just interacting and having a good relationship with the spirits around them. Like, for instance, the everyday common person would have had a much closer relationship with the land whites and their house spirits than they would have had with any specific god for the most part. Just because they would have had a lot more interaction with the land spirits and the house spirits than they would have had with the gods. Stoicism for the hard times in life, Epicurism for the good times. I'll agree with that. Philosophy is best found in one's thoughts over the pages of any book. Definitely agree with that, which is kind of why I never really liked reading it. I always just like trying to pull it out of my own brain. I always felt that you can learn it better and gain more by coming up with it yourself than trying to necessarily read through someone else's thought process. What part of history is my favorite? My favorite part of history would be all of it. I love all of history. No, but actually, in reality, my favorite part of history is the development and evolution of metallurgy. Yeah. I am fascinated like nothing else when it comes to learning about how humanity developed metal tools and how we created different types of like swords. Like, for instance, the Uzbek swords, some of the greatest swords ever created, and I am obsessed with them. I want to learn how to make one like they did back then so that I could make one myself. Jack, hello, sir. Welcome to the chat. What are some common crafting skills you see within the heathen community? So common crafting skills that I've been seeing in the community has been wood carving, carving runes into little rocks. That's actually really common. I've been seeing a lot of people crafting things out of bones that they find. Seeing a lot of people creating their own ritual garb, like headdresses, masks, robes, that kind of thing. So I'd say those are some of the biggest crafting things that are very common throughout the heathen community. And cooking. Let's not forget cooking. Cooking is definitely a craft, and anybody that is a good cook, they have mastered their craft. Oh, leatherworking. I almost forgot about that one, which also reminds me about blacksmithing. I don't know why I didn't think about that when I was literally just talking about metallurgy a couple moments ago. So leatherwork is big, woodworking, metalworking, stone carving, wood burning, cooking, all big things. I don't actually know many weavers and haven't seen many people that do weaving. Yes, Blake, brewing is definitely up there too. There's a lot of people that make mead and a lot of people that brew beer among the community, and it's amazing just all these different types of meads that people are coming up with and creating, and I can't wait myself to give it a try. Like, I've got everything I need to make the mead. I just haven't done it yet. I cannot wait, Heather. When I see you, I am definitely going to be trying y'all's mead, and I am looking forward to it. Should we make a serious effort to try and buy from heathen sellers? Yes, I do believe that you should give an effort to try and buy things from a heathen seller when you are buying a heathen item, when you are buying a pagan item. If you are going to be buying something for your altar or buying something for ritual purpose, or if you're going to even be buying a pagan book, you should be trying as much as possible to be buying it from another pagan. Preferably, if it's something that's crafted, buy it from the person that crafted it directly instead of buying it through a third party. You want to help support your fellow pagans as much as you can. You want to support your community as much as you can. So try and support their small businesses. I think that's better than just going to Amazon and buying the top-rated item or something. Thoughts on Damascus steel, true Damascus? Okay, so true Damascus steel, we have zero idea how they actually made it. However, the closest we can come is crucible steel, which is essentially taking your crucible and packing it full of different pieces of metal and carbon, more metal and more carbon, and then you seal it with like a clay or something, and you just keep it in the forge until it basically becomes one solid mass on the bottom of your crucible. So that's the closest we can come to the actual historic Damascus steel. Modern Damascus is very different. It is actually made by using two different types of steel and forge welding them together, and then cutting it, restacking it, forge welding it together, cutting it, stacking it, forge welding it together over and over again to create different patterns. I am not the best person to ask about the modern methods of making Damascus steel, because while I have watched plenty of videos on it, that does not mean I know how to do it. I have not done it yet, so I'm not the best person to ask. There's a store in St. Pete. Oh, that's right. You did get me those tarot cards, and I truly, truly am thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am making those runes for you, and I will have them finished hopefully this weekend. But I definitely want to check out that store next time I'm out in St. Pete. Pyrography. I'm not sure if you mean writing with fire or if you're talking about divination with fire. If you're talking about divination with fire, that can be very interesting. Basically, you're using the flames and the way that they dance to create images. The way I normally do it is I let my eyes unfocus so that I'm not actually focused on anything in front of me or to the sides. I'm not focused on the flame, and I just kind of let the shadows play out in my vision, and I see what I see. My favorite thing to cook, I make pasta a lot. The thing I make the most of is bacon. Can't have enough bacon. Oh, it's a term for crochet, pyrography. Did not know that. Thank you for that information. I'll have to store that away next time I'm talking to my sister about her crocheting. I'll actually know what she's talking about. Were my parents Bible thumpers? No, my parents were not Bible thumpers. While I was raised in a Roman Catholic household, we were never strict about it. While we did go every week, every Saturday for a long time, for many, many years. By the time I was in middle school, I was already pagan in my mind and had stopped going to church well before middle school even started. My grandparents are definitely more Bible thumpers than my parents ever were. My grandparents on both sides of my family go to church every week. They go religiously. My grandfather on my dad's side knows like a Archbishop of Gulu from the Archdiocese of Gulu. Anyways, one of the bishops from archbishops from Uganda. Don't remember how they met, but apparently they became friends. But he was a really nice guy, Bishop Sabino. Great guy. What book am I currently reading at the moment? Okay. I didn't want to talk about this yet because I don't have the review ready, but I will spill the beans. Just give me 1 second. I'm reading this. Beyond the North Wind by Christopher McIntosh. And while it's a very well-written and well-researched book, it's a piece of shit. It is full of vague and veiled references to white supremacy, Eurocentrism, and a lot of crypto-fascist language in there as well. It is not a good book. No, don't buy it. Don't read it. Anyways, moving on. Behind. Oh. Well, I hope when your uncle asked if you were a witch, you told him yes. Did you threaten to put any spells on him? I would have. Strict parents equals less strict parent. Well, strict grandparents equals less strict parents equals pagan boy. Yeah, that's definitely how it ended up working for me. Wood burning to make your runes. That's nice. I haven't actually tried wood burning myself. Maybe one day I'll get around to trying it, but I carve my runes with a Dremel tool into stone. I have my rune set right here. Now, for instance, little Anzus here. I carved these, and I even mixed the paint myself in order to paint them. I handpicked each and every single one of the stones that I used for this set. And I love this set. And so does my daughter. Because she keeps trying to steal them. So I have to keep them on top of the bookshelf. What's my favorite stone? Granite. I love granite because there is such a wide variety in the way that granite can appear that it is absolutely stunning. However, if you were to ask me what my favorite stone to use for a rune was, I would actually have to say blue agate. And if you were to ask me what my favorite stone I currently owned was, I have this giant, almost triangular shaped piece of quartz that it's quite literally about like this big. It's a huge, ginormous chunk of quartz that I found in Georgia back in October, and I brought it home with me. Well, I hope he did not say that it changed the way he thought of you, Heather. Hopefully he doesn't mind you being a witch. Do I want to tell my story about witchcraft? I did witchcraft from the time I was 8 until the time that I was 13. Yeah. So that was me doing a lot of tarot reading, a lot of palmistry. My main focus was on divination rather than spell work. So that's pretty much all I did. I was like fully dedicated to learning different methods of divination. Once I got to be 14 and was in high school, that's when I started drifting towards Celtic paganism, and that's also when I started becoming more. I like the term omnitheistic. Because not only do I believe that all gods exist, everyone that has ever and ever will be believed in, but I also believe it doesn't matter what the fuck you call the gods because they know who you're talking to in your heart. So one god might show up to one person as Freya and show up to another person as Frigg, but it could still be the same god. I don't think it matters what you call them. Going beyond that, also, I do believe that Janus from Roman mythology has a very, very big resemblance to Loki in many ways. Do I have any instruments that I play? I do play instruments. I have a harmonica, which was up here, but it's not anymore. And I play the violin. I do not currently have one. It broke. I haven't been able to replace it yet. But I also used to play the bass guitar. I was not good. And I used to play the tuba. I was not good. I used to play the piano and the organ. I was okay. No, I'm not anymore. How seriously should we take stanza 38 of the Havamal? It would be easier if my wife hadn't moved my Wanderer's Havamal. Now I got to search for it. 38. Never go even a single step without a weapon at your side. You never know when you might find yourself in need of a spear. Dude, I live by this. I have at least a knife on me everywhere I go, unless I'm going somewhere where carrying a weapon is prohibited, say like a courthouse or a government building. Then I make sure I leave it in my car and I don't take it. But anywhere where I can legally carry, I carry. Do you hang protection runes in your home? No, I do not currently have any protection runes in my home, but I do wish that I had. There have been incidences where it could have come in handy if I had had something like that, but unfortunately I did not. So, update with the camera. Buying one tomorrow. Maybe. No, but actually there's one on the way. Yeah, Isaiah, you're underage. Don't carry a weapon. Don't even carry a pocket knife. Once you turn 18, then you can start carrying a knife, and once you become of legal age in order to own a handgun, which I believe is 21 in most states, you can get your concealed carry permit and be able to carry a gun. But you must be of legal age and follow all state and federal regulations for wherever you are at. Yeah, I don't own a handgun, but I carry knives. This is the one that I usually carry. It's very small, like smaller than my hand, but it's a useful little tool. A knife is one of the most useful tools any man can carry. I also have this that I carry sometimes. This just holds a razor blade, but I don't have a blade on it, so I don't carry it right now. I wish ammo was cheap too. Hell, I wish guns were cheap so I could go and buy one myself. And I wouldn't have to worry about borrowing other people's guns, and I could buy my own ammo too. And I'm out of OJ. All right, folks, we are at just over an hour. Anybody got any more questions? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up about there since there doesn't appear to be any more questions. So, what's my favorite color? Royal blue. I don't know if you could tell from the runes I showed you, but I actually made my own royal blue paint to paint those runes. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. And more questions. Thank you, Blake. Do I want my kids to follow your faith? I do. Will I make them? No. I am raising my kids to understand that it doesn't matter what they believe in, because all that matters about their opinion, the only person whose opinion about their beliefs matters is their own. They don't have to worry about what someone else thinks of their beliefs. They will always be welcome in my home, and they will always be loved no matter what they choose. Am I going to teach them about my faith? Absolutely. Am I going to hope that they follow along this path or a similar one? Absolutely. Do I believe that they will? I think there's a good chance. But I do not believe I should force my children to follow this path. And so when they come of age, if they want to explore other religions and get baptized in a different faith, I'm going to be okay with it as long as it's something that they want to do. Any Loki stories I want to share? Well, when it comes to Loki, I have had some interesting experiences. Yeah, I have this keychain. I'll get it and I'll show you guys. I have this keychain. I bought this keychain when I was 15 years old. So I've had it for 17 years. It has been my primary keychain since then. I have lost my keys more fucking times than I can remember. Every fucking week, I lose my keys. At least it seems to be that way. And there were times where I would lose my keys and they would disappear for months. And then they would reappear. Now, funny thing is, a couple of those times where these keys disappeared, I moved while they were missing. Never found them in my house. Never found them in any of my stuff. Yet somehow, after I moved and got a new keychain, this one would show back up. I had this keychain on me when I got into a wreck on a scooter that nearly killed me. I learned how to fly for about 10 seconds before I bounced and rolled and bounced and rolled about 50 yards down the road. Only survived because I was wearing a helmet. The scooter did not survive. There was pretty much nothing left of it. It was basically disintegrated. But this keychain survived. I got it back. So I carry this with me everywhere. It's a good luck charm. But Loki likes to steal it from me. And he likes to hide it. And he likes to fuck with me. Yeah, fuck you too, Loki. Alright. Yeah, I got lots of stories when it comes to my kids and Loki. They are spawns of Loki, and they are little seeds of chaos. Every time I try and film a video when they're around, I can't get 5 minutes of quiet. They turn the volume up on the TV. I turn it down. They turn it back up. I pause the TV. They grab the remote and they turn it back on. I put the remote up where they can't get to it, and they climb the furniture to get it. They're not evil. They're sweevil. There's a difference. They're sweet, and then they're evil, and then they're sweet again. If you're going to offer Skittles to Loki, give him the sour ones. Definitely give him the sour ones. Or you can give him nuts like I did. Yeah. You can give nuts to Loki. They'll think it's funny. Yes, my daughters are like little monkeys. They climb all over me. And you know what? I have 3. I have 3 daughters. There are times where those little hellions drive me up the wall. I envy your 3 sons. Would you like to trade? I'm not sure that my wife would be very happy with that, but I would. Trail mix and beef jerky wouldn't make good storeway offerings. Why? Because it's shelf stable. And food offerings are always good when you're doing an outdoor offering, because you can just leave it outdoors and an animal will come around. They'll partake in the offering, and I believe that is part of the natural cycle of giving offerings. You gave Loki an offering of twisted tea. I hope he accepted your offering and you had some luck with it. However, knowing my luck, I would offer him a twisted tea and he'd hit me over the head with it. Well, you know, you can get oil and water to mix if you put a little soap in there. Yeah, give it a try. It works. You could put animal sprays around the outdoor altar in order to deter the animals from getting to it, but why would you want to? You would be depriving the land whites of their natural part of the offering, which they are just as entitled to as the gods. All right? You leave the offerings out there. You let the animals take it. You go back in a few days, whatever is left, and then you can dispose of. But leave the offerings and allow the animals to get them. It's part of it. To avoid critters from squalling? What? I'm going to assume that you meant to type stalking. Again, don't worry about it. The only ones that are going to really be coming around to steal your offerings are going to be like possums and raccoons. Unless you have my luck, and then you might end up with a bobcat. Or an alligator. Yeah. I don't need any more alligators trying to eat me. It's happened too many times already. You had an animal eat part of your offering to Odin at Yule. In my opinion, that means that Odin accepted your offering because he sent that animal to partake in it. Florida is very much known for gators. I have been swimming with them more times than I can count, and it is not an enjoyable experience most of the time. It is shit-pantsingly terrifying. Unless you happen to not know, like, the big bear, like I did for several of those occasions. And then you see the gators and you freak out and you try and get out of the water without getting eaten. I don't like doing that. I've had to do it too many times growing up living on a lake. We used to get gators in the lake all the time. Not so much fun. Gators may not be everywhere, but they're all over the place in Florida. Some in Georgia, in Mississippi, in Louisiana, and apparently I've heard of them in Texas too. But there are gators in other places besides Florida. Everyone may not be Floridian, but I am, though I do not want to be. I do not want to be Florida Man. Florida Man is the worst superhero ever. I do not want to be worst superhero ever. No, he is not Florida Man. Yes, gators are delicious. I will eat the gator. You let me get the gator, I will eat the gator. Gator tail po' boys, man. That's where it's at. They're delicious. You are right, Corey. A little bit of Florida Man does live in us all because we are all just a little bit crazy, at least. All right. Anybody else have any last minute questions? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. All right. So we're going to call it a night there, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream. Hour and 12 minutes. Holy shit, this is the longest video I've done yet. Thank you guys for sticking with me and sitting through the entirety of my bullshit. What is the speed of a flying swallow? I believe that's supposed to be a joke somehow. But I don't get it at the moment, and I have a feeling that it's going to hit me over the head in some point tonight. All right. For those of you who are on the Discord, I will catch you on the Discord later tonight. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, guys, Skull.